Okay, hey, this is Andrew, and I am here to bring you some KeyForge Age of Ascension spoilers, and I have Mark here with me. Hey, Mark.
Hey Andrew. Awesome. I'm like super excited about this new set. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad. I had promised to myself I wouldn't get around to spoilers until we had finished working through all the existing cards, and now that that's done, we can get on to thinking about the future. But I'm still having a ton of fun playing with the existing cards. More cards will just make it even better.
Yes, yes. And yeah, it did take us a while to get through all 370 cards and
Whew.
but I yeah. I and you know the first set as seen by these play tests
Mm-hmm.
um on the Fantasy Fight stream.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those I obviously the it looks like the decks are pretty balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm enjoying seeing those, and I'm really liking the new mechanics of the new cards, and yeah, really excited about it.
Yeah, totally cool. So we have kind of like a backlog, I guess, of spoiled cards, and these come from a variety of sources. Some of them are from, you know, uh, FFG's announcements where they'll post a few pictures of cards, but a lot of them have come from from the live streams of them playing games with these decks, and then they have this cool little thing where when they have a card that people haven't seen yet, they put it up on a stand and get a nice zoom in on it. Um, so that's been a cool way to find out about cards as we go along.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And importantly, not all of the new cards or not all of the cards in Age of Ascension will be new. There will be a lot of cards returning from Call of the Archons, but a bunch of new ones as well. And I think if I remember right, the total number of cards is still going to be 370 in Age of Ascension.
That sounds right. I'm not entirely sure on the number of new Age of
Mm-hmm.
Ascension exclusive cards there are. I
Yep.
think there was a number announced, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, it was something like around on the order of like 160, maybe a little more, that were going to be uh, repeat cards returned from
Hmm.
Call of the Archons. So that
That
would mean
sounds
that
very familiar.
yeah, so that would mean that over half are new, which is pretty cool.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, like that is really exciting that they have that much new content to put into the game.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and then so there are three. Oh, I talked about this in a previous video, but there are three new keywords that could show up here. Do you want to talk through those really quick, Mark?
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
Well, you go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So we have the three keywords are alpha, omega, and deploy.
Hmm.
Brand new mechanics to the game. The first one I want to talk about actually is deploy.
Hmm.
As I've been teaching the game to people, one of the things I've been like making sure to mention to people is the battle line, the importance of the
Hmm.
battle line, how you build outwards from your
Yep.
center from your first creature you place down, and if some creature in the middle is destroyed, you move it inwards. So the basically the only way you can affect creatures on your battle line, aside from moving creatures around through transposition sandals or sanctum guardian, is by adding them onto the outside.
Hmm.
And being able to add a creature to the middle of the battle line is going to make a huge difference, especially if it gives armor or power or abilities to the creatures next to them.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty strong.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. And then the next one is I guess is alpha, which
Mm-hmm.
just means that you can only play that card uh, first thing on your turn. So you can't use any other cards. You can't play any other cards before this one. If you have done that, then you would not be able to play a card that has alpha printed on it.
Right. It's a way to balance the abilities of the card. I really
Hmm.
like it. it makes it so that you can't have like two broken of combos with cards.
Mm-hmm.
What a card that jumps out to me is Unlocked Gateway. It's an Omega card. You play it last, destroy each creature, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't gain any chains for it. So
Right.
it, so that way, like one of my favorite combos in Call of the Archons is having a Snudge out, reaping with
Mm-hmm.
Snudge, returning it to my hand, playing Gateway to Dis, and then putting Snudge back out.
Mm.
So it prevents things, little finicky things like that from happening,
Mm-hmm.
and goes ahead and ends your turn for you after you play that card. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. So the Omega keyword is this is the last thing you do after this.
you need to
You
ready up.
Yeah. Your basically your turn's over. Everything readies and that's it. Um,
hmm
Yeah, and I was thinking about we'll cover it as we go along, but the unlocked gateway, essentially right now what we have is Omega seems equivalent to three chains, right? And it may not always be, but for now anyway, the one card where we can compare Omega to chains, it seems like the devs
hmm
thought it was worth three chains.
Right, right. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, and then the alpha, same thing but different aspect. Obviously, like you can't play cards before you play an alpha card.
mhm,
So this card has to come out first. Otherwise, you can't play it.
right,
And right now, it seems there's no exception to that rule.
right. Yeah, and
And I
importantly, like one obvious application of Alpha and Omega is you couldn't play two cards that have Alpha and Omega. You couldn't play two of them on the same turn. So, or two cards that have Alpha or two cards that have Omega. So,
hmm
um, thinking backwards, I think this would have been a really elegant way to handle library access. Where if we said you can only
hmm
play this at the start of
Yep.
your turn, it would have solved a lot of the concerns that people have about library
Hmm.
access.
Good old library access.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to jump in to some spoiled cards then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So this first example actually is because I'm lazy and didn't want to edit these into separate into three separate slides. But we have three cards shown here, and then after this we'll go kind of house by house. But these are from I think these are from the initial announcement about Age of Ascension. Is that right?
So it's not showing up for me just yet, but I believe. Oh yeah. So yes. So these are from the initial announcement. Um, Really cool set of cards that we see here. So far, only one of these has been officially spoiled.
Right.
Like you have the Flex back hiding back there,
Yeah.
that
Yep.
Brobnar card. But yeah, the so far only one of these has been officially spoiled on stream. There's two others, as you can see on here, that have full on text, but the other ones are kind of obscured by
Right.
each other and pieces of keys and tokens and all that.
Right. Yeah. So we have so in terms of the cards that are spoiled here that haven't shown up on streams yet, we have not finished with you, which is a dis action that gains you an amber, and when you play it, you shuffle any number of creatures from your discard pile into your deck.
Kind of
Seems
like
okay.
yeah, I like that it gives you an amber
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a rise, but you're not gaining a chain, you're not taking them back to your hand.
Yeah.
It's yeah, you're just putting it back, shuffling it back into your deck. It's like a what's it called?
Like Lost in the
From
Woods.
Untamed. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lost in the Woods. It's
So
like the Lost in the Woods for your discard pile.
yeah, I'm excited about this because it means like you can well, first of all, there's no unlike a rise, there's no choose a house, right? It's just any number of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And this has the um, cool upside, I guess, that you can pick which creatures, right? So if you're thinking, I mean, you can leave your Dexters and your Bad Pennies and if there are other cards that you think, hey, that's not useful. If you're fighting over your third key, maybe you leave the Mushroom Man in your discard pile.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Another cool thing to think about is, if do you know if library access has been confirmed for this new set?
no,
Because if it has, you could take all your Logos creatures, put
sure,
them back into your discard pile, and by that point, it could be significantly smaller, your draw pile.
right,
So being able to guarantee all those Logos cards in there with
right. You're
library
gonna
access coming
cycle.
up, yeah,
Hmm.
could be a really good Logos turn coming up for you.
Yeah,
So
yep.
yeah, there's that too.
Cool, totally. Okay, and then next one is Hexpion, which is a 2-power Logos creature, and it's AI, which I think that's a new trait. I don't think we've seen that
Mm-hmm. Yep,
before.
that is a new trait. Yep.
And Hexpion, when he's destroyed, you archive him and the top card of your deck. So sort of like
Hmm.
a Research Smoko
Mm-hmm.
combined with Mobius Strip.
Yep.
Mobius Scroll. That's yeah.
Mobius scroll. Yeah. um. Yeah. I think it's a bit. I would have to obviously I have to play it to see how it plays out, but I'm not too happy about the fact that that it gets archived too.
Hmm.
Because if you have an archive built up and you um have a bunch of
Hmm.
another house built up in the archive,
Right.
and then this has to go in there with it. There's a 2/3 chance of this going in there without it being with other ones of its
Yep.
house.
Yep.
It's not. I'm not too happy about that,
Uh
but
huh.
then again, it gets it out of your discard and out of your draw
Yeah.
pile at the same time. So at least there's that. So, um,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
there's ups and downs to it from what I'm seeing right now, but I'm excited to see if there's anything else to do with the AI trait on it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Then we have Agent Human, um, who's a 2-power elusive Martian agent. Um, that
The
has something
second
about a
known
friendly
Mars agent, by the way.
non-Mars. Huh?
The second known Mars agent, by the way. So John Smith can't ready
Right.
this guy.
Right. Right. And yeah. So and I think because of that, it's hard for me to imagine that the verb at the front of that second paragraph isn't ready.
Hmm.
Um, but
It
who
could be
knows?
choose. It could be choose.
Right.
So it could be like reap, choose a friendly non-Mars
Ooh,
creature
and an enemy
and an
non-Mars
enemy
creature, and
non-Mars
ready to.
creature. It
Ooh,
could be that.
interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, well we'll have to find out, and
Yeah.
then on the back we have the flex, which we'll see later, and then a something spine mongrel and untamed, a
Mm-hmm.
perplexing. I'm gonna say that's probably case.
I
Uh,
that's the word I was thinking of. It could also be verdict, maybe.
yeah, for sure,
Um, yeah, case or verdict.
for
Looks
sure.
like something there.
In shadows, it's gonna be an action that gains you an amber, and I mean I can just imagine in shadows land when they're trying to you know do justice, like what do you even do? Uh, and then we have in Sanctum Hadroth's Wall, which is an artifact. And we were saying earlier, I suspect this is a reference to Hadrian's Wall,
Mm-hmm.
which is the ancient wall that separated the Roman Empire from the Celtic territory in the north, if I remember
Hmm.
right. Still on my bucket list to visit that, but I think it's a reference to that. But
Yeah, it looks like a
who
pretty cool
knows?
artifact.
Yeah,
I can imagine that it's some sort of protection for your creatures from the looks of things. Um, no way of telling if it's a constant effect or if it's an
cool.
action.
Yeah, yeah. Like everybody
But
gets an amber, or everybody gets an armor, or something like that. Is what I meant. Oops.
yeah, or it could be a artifact action ability of Shield of Justice. We just don't
Right.
know. So
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, so I know this is waiting to come up on your screen, but we're into Brobnar territory now, and we'll start with 1-2 punch, which is an action that gains you an amber and stuns an enemy creature, and if that creature was already stunned, you destroy it instead.
Total Brobnar card here.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a great ability. I like being able to just stun a creature. You
Mm-hmm.
gain an amber for it. It's like a mini tremor if there's no
Mm-hmm.
stun creatures out, and then just being able to destroy a creature no matter what its power is
Yeah.
or whether it's elusive or not, is great.
Right. So
What
yeah.
this also does
Mm-hmm.
is it goes past Shadow Self. So being
Mm-hmm.
able to destroy a creature that's next
Right.
to Shadow Self is really, really strong.
Right, which is something that Brobnar struggles with a little bit. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and I was thinking, I don't know whether like Tremor and Smash and stuff are gonna be in 808, but um, definitely stunning stuff in the is already in the Brobnar set of things to do, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yep. Yep.
not
Up to order
shocking.
in the catalog.
Yep.
My favorite part about this card is the flavor text. Giants can count past 2, but why bother? So,
Yep.
um, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Next one is Bingle Bangle, or Bingle Bang Bang rather, uh, which is a
Definitely
two
one of my favorite new names
oh
of the whole
gosh.
new set.
I feel like there should be some rule around if you say it right, then you get an amber or something. But if you say it wrong, I don't know. So Bingle Bang Bang is a 2 power creature that before fight before fighting it deals 5 damage to each
So
neighbor of the
crazy.
creature it's fighting. Yeah.
Yeah. So this card is great. Especially from what I'm seeing against elusive creatures, being able to fight and not take any damage back, but deal
Yeah.
damage to the creatures next to you,
Hmm.
is what will be an awesome way to use this card.
Yep.
And even if you need to play it and have it fight, um, if you're able to make it fight, this seems like a card that you would want to prioritize getting rid of so you can negate that damage. But
Hmm.
if you're able to make it fight, being able to just get it out there and do 5 damage to creatures next to it
Right.
will be awesome. Like, I think that would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, even if this gets killed, like it's not so
Mm-hmm.
bad. If you can, I mean, if you can make this be the thing that burns elusive on some creature and also has 5 damage to its neighbors, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
this makes me think of there's a game I used to play a bit on the computer called well, it's a Warhammer 40K game, and it's which was a Dawn of War 2, and there was this like last stand horde mode type thing where you just have waves of AI things coming at you, and you're with 2 other humans. And there was one particular, it was a an orc slash goblin build where uh, you would have a trait that let you drop mines or drop bombs every time you teleported, and then you would have another piece of armor that would teleport you. It would have like a 1/3 chance to teleport you every time something else hit you, and then another thing that would give you like a 1/3 chance to teleport every time you hit something else. So you were just constantly accidentally teleporting and blowing
Oh
stuff
my
up. It was amazing, and you usually
That's
ended up
awesome.
killing your friends, but it was tons of fun. And this is very reminiscent of that.
That's funny. Yeah. Only this does damage just to your enemies,
Right, right.
which is exciting.
Yes, yeah. Much better targeting there. Uh, Definitely an improvement. Um, cool. Okay, next one is Calfine, who is a 5 power giant creature that deals 2 damage before the fight to the
So I thought
neighbors.
Brad pronounced this Calfine. So I think there's a ine at
I
the
believe
end
you.
instead of an ein.
Okay.
But this card brings up a new um basically well this card is bringing up the fact that this set has a lot more of this type of interaction
Right.
in the cards, at least from what we're seeing so far.
Mm-hmm.
So it has 5 power, but sorry, no, it doesn't. This isn't what I'm talking about. I was talking about the having a power, but only dealing a certain amount of damage.
Oh, right.
This one is kind of like the opposite of Bingo Bang Bang, where
Yeah,
it has 5
absolutely.
power, but only deals 2 damage to the neighbors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this set has a little more like a bit more mirror effect type things.
At least from what we're seeing right now. Maybe these 2 cards that we just saw are more likely to appear in the same deck. In the bottom part of the screen, you can see it. They come from the same deck, so maybe these 2 cards appear in it more often. I don't know. So there's no way for us to know until we can get into more of the cards, obviously. But
right, they are both commons, so there's that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So next up is another common. It's Drummernaut, which is a 6-power giant creature, and it has play, fight, reap, return a friendly giant creature to your hand.
Now, did this one get the pre-errata? The pre-release errata? About it saying you may
about
return
the you may. I think
friendly...
that's right. I think you're right. This is the one.
So that makes a huge difference, because otherwise it would just end up back in your hand if it's the only creature that you play out. So I think it got the pre-release errata, and they're going to like change that about it. But who knows how many decks they already have printed? But
yeah. Good point.
Being able to return a creature, a friendly giant creature to your hand, it's a mini war drummer. So heal it, put it right back out, do its playability if it has one, all that. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you call it a mini war drummer, but it has twice the, and I agree with you, right? Because war drummer just does this to everything, but this has twice the power and can like do it the next turn too. So
right, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
really
a bit more survivable
exciting.
Than that too.
Yeah.
But also imagine like if you have this it was a really funny word picture I thought of about this card. Imagine you have 2 of them and you're just returning them to your hand. You're playing the drums with them.
It would be. Yes. Yes. Definitely. Definitely thematic.
Yeah. But yeah, Drummernaut, nice creature. 6 power. It's good in a fight, so you aren't afraid to fight with it.
Yeah.
And you're able to return it to your hand if it fights. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, reap with it, and boom, you healed it too. Jeez. Yeah, that's not bad. All right. Cool. Next up is First Blood, which is an action that gains you 1 amber, and it has alpha. And so you can only play it before doing anything else this step. And this step would mean your main step where you're playing cards and using stuff. And when you play it, you deal 2 damage for each friendly Brobnar creature, and you can divide that damage among any number of creatures.
Yeah, so the way I see this card is kind of like a mothership support from Mars. So like being able to deal 2 damage to, and only for that one, the way they make sure that it balances is they need to be ready in order for you to use that card. So that's how they balance that one. This one, they need to already be out on the board in order for you to be able to use this card to its full effect.
Right.
So, like you can't use this card at the end of your turn after playing a bunch of Brobnar cards out. So, it'd be really hard to hold on to this card if you can't use it, because it's an alpha card and needing to save it to a next turn. I think I personally would discard it, although it would be really tough to do that because it has a free amber on it. So, yeah. This
and if what you have on the board is like, a Valder or something, and maybe you're like, hey, I don't mind doing 2 damage to my Valder. That's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
cool.
Definitely.
Uh,
I like
mhm.
the. By the way, I do like the ability to be able to divide it among any number of creatures. So,
Yep.
like per creature, you can do 2 damage to like a bunch of different creatures, or do it all on one. It just gives you a bunch of different options.
Right. Cool. Okay. Next up is Foozle, which is a 5 power giant creature that, um, when you reap, if an enemy creature has been destroyed this turn, you gain 1. So, in that case, it would be 2 total that you gain from the reap action.
Hmm. I am confused about what's going on in this picture.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't
Yep.
know. Um, so is that per enemy creature that's been destroyed, or if at least one has been destroyed, you gain 1?
It's maximum 1. Yeah. If
Okay.
an enemy creature has been destroyed this turn, you gain 1.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. So it's not like what was
Not
it?
like loot
War
the
chest
bodies or war
or
chests.
war
Nope.
chest. Yeah.
Nope.
So this one, if a creature has died, you gain an additional amber if you reap with this creature. So that's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like yeah. So anytime you're able to gain more value out of
Mm-hmm.
reaping is awesome. So yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
fan.
I think it's easiest to compare her to like which is the looter goblin. Um,
Okay.
which will
Yep.
gain you 1 damage for each enemy creature that was destroyed.
One amber.
But right, but it's so that has potential to gain you more in a single turn, but it's 2 power and elusive versus Foozle, who's just 5 power, no elusive, but less susceptible to dying from direct damage, I guess.
Right. And we're seeing a pattern here developing where elusive creatures tend to be um and I'm going to be proved wrong a few cards from now, but it tend to be um smaller
Right,
um power, so like 2 maybe 3 power max.
right.
And then when they
Unless
take
they're
off that
6.
elusive keyword, yeah,
Yeah,
unless they're 6, they pop up to like 5
right.
or 4 or 5 or 6 and then go from there. But um
Yep,
yeah.
totally. Cool. All right. Next is Grogan's, which is an 8 power giant um, that can only attack flank creatures.
Huh. Um yeah. I mean, I think that being able to only attack flank creatures is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a less useful troll,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, because he can't heal himself and he can only
Right.
fight flank creatures.
It's
But the good
actually.
thing is,
Uh-huh.
at least he can reap,
Yeah.
right?
You could almost compare him to Valder, right? Because Valder does 8 damage when she
Huh.
attacks a flank creature.
Yep.
She's only actually 6 power, and she can attack other things too. Grogan's,
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, is actually 8 power and is limited in what he can attack.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
kind of a trade off
Yeah.
there.
If
But
you think about it, he is able to attack and destroy a staunch knight without being destroyed.
yeah,
So if Valder attacks a staunch knight on a flank,
they
she'll be
both die.
destroyed in the
Yeah.
fight. Yeah. So Grogan's would not be in that
Yep.
case.
Yep.
And if you have a drummer knot in there, you're able to return him to your hand, heal him
Oof.
up, and all that. So
Crazy.
that's actually something that's a good combo. If you have this and drummer knot in your
Yeah.
deck, if it's
Yep.
by itself, I can't see it being super amazing.
Right.
But it, yeah, yeah,
Right. Yep. You're just gonna keep punching stuff turn after turn until it dies.
yep.
So.
Unless you have an
Uh huh.
upcoming card, actually, I'm excited about one of these upcoming cards.
Uh huh. Uh huh. So next up is Groke, who has fight. Your opponent loses 1,
Mm-hmm.
which seems to me like just an exact opposite of Headhunter.
Yep. Exact opposite of Headhunter. a little bit weaker version of Crump.
Hmm.
Fight your opponent loses 1. It has 1 less power.
Well, the
Yeah,
difference compared
definitely.
to Crump being that if you use Groke to burn elusive on a creature, then it doesn't take damage, but it still has the effect, right? Crump, let's say you have a Dew Fairy on the other team. If you were to fight it with Crump and then Groke, it would only lose 1, right?
Huh?
Because the
Yeah.
Crump wouldn't actually cause it to lose 1. But if you fought it with Groke first and then Crump, your opponent would lose 2, and the Groke wouldn't take any damage. So I think it's just a little, it's a trade off again.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a trade off. And of course, we don't even know if Crump's going to be in the new set.
We,
So, like,
absolutely.
you have that.
Yep. All right. Next, we have Into the Fray, which is an action that says for the remainder of the turn, FFG did not learn their lesson with for the remainder of the turn effects, apparently. But it says for the remainder of the turn, a friendly Brobnar creature gains fight. Ready this creature.
Imagine this with like Shield of Justice, being able to fight, not take any damage, and just destroy the entire other side of the board without
Yeah.
taking any damage. Obviously, we don't even know if Shield of Justice is going to be in this set. And but yeah, obviously that is going to be a potentially extremely rare case of something like that happening, because you need to be able to play both of those cards at the same
Yep.
time for that to happen. But something's going to happen that's going to break this card, and people are going to get mad. And
Hey, I'm just imagining this on the Headhunter with shield with the Ring of Invisibility.
yep, skirmish,
Yeah.
uh, skirmish and fighting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, this is gonna be the new bait and switch.
And yeah, and I can imagine like this. So far, I can't think of any Brobnar creatures that have skirmish, and I suspect this means at least as long as Into the Fray is part of the active cards, that we are not going to see Brobnar creatures with skirmish.
Yes, I hopefully that would be the case. Of course, we never know, but yeah, hopefully that's the case where none of them have skirmish. Um, this card is also Maverick proofed, so in case it's in a house like Shadows with Umbra or Logos with Bat
Oh,
Drone, you can't use it with those creatures because it says Brobnar creature. So
right.
so
Not
it's
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good that it has that specific house
Right.
text on it. Otherwise, it could be really broken if it was
Right.
Mavericked into another house.
Yes, that would be cray cray. Okay.
So at least they thought of that.
Yes. Um, next up we have Lollop the Titanic, who is an 11 power creature. He's a giant, and he's also a location, as you can tell by the art. Let's have a camp
People
out.
having picnic on his shoulder.
Yes. Um, and Lollop the Titanic deals no damage when attacked.
That's interesting to me.
Uh,
Well, he's obviously a location, so if you go around hitting your sword on a location, it's like I don't know. Most of the creatures that attack this, if they don't have skirmish, are going to be destroyed. So, oh, well,
right.
no, never mind. Yeah, so he is able to attack just about any creature and destroy it.
Yep.
What I said was wrong, but um, the cool thing was this was combined with on the FF3 stream. I don't know if you noticed this. If you it, if you know about the card Grove Keeper, Grove Keeper is an untamed card that at the end of your turn gives each
Right.
neighboring creature a +1 power counter. So on the FFG stream, this guy was next to your Grove Keeper. He got an extra power. and he used the flex on
Right.
Lawless the Titanic and got 6 amber,
Right.
which was crazy. So
And still lost.
yes, and still lost. But the fact that you're able to burst that much amber in Brobnar now
Yes.
is awesome.
Yes. Very
That's
cool.
that's actually pretty cool.
Yep.
I think that the flex is a good addition for amber burst and Brobnar.
Yep. For sure. Cool. Okay. Next up is, and that's crazy. That's actually a common. Lollop is a common. Um,
Hmm.
so next up is Kolf the Quiet, who is a 6-power giant who has elusive.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier.
And I could
um,
just imagine, like Crump being like, "Bruh, bruh, what are you doing?"
Sitting out in the field of sunflowers, enjoying his day,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, 6 power with elusive. Um, there's no shadows action besides finishing blow that can get rid of this guy.
Hmm.
So being able to just keep him out there and be able to reap with him is great. Adds more amber generation to this new side of Brobnar that we're seeing. Um, and he is obviously a new side to Brobnar, as obviously he
Yep.
doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Because he's elusive and he's just laying there. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool actually.
Yep.
I'm a fan.
Yep.
This new Brobnar.
Totally. Cool. Okay. So next up is Grunt Buggy, which is an artifact that gains you 1 amber when you play it, and makes your opponent's keys cost an extra amber for each friendly creature with power 5 or higher, and also yours. So basically, everybody's amber cost goes up based on how many creatures with power 5 or higher their opponent has.
Hmm. Now, obviously, you're playing Brobnar.
Mm-hmm.
You are more likely to have creatures out with power 5 or higher on your side,
Mm-hmm.
which makes
Mm-hmm.
it better to play. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's a good
Mm-hmm.
card. Um, it would be really tough to play this out against another Brobnar deck.
Yeah.
Because it gives your opponent the chance to really increase your key costs by flooding their board with
Yes.
power 5 or higher creatures. But yeah, I mean, obviously I have to play it. It's situational.
Yeah. Yeah, this
Yeah,
definitely
seems like a
depends on,
situational card.
yeah, it relies on your confidence that you can control the board. And I think also would benefit from cards that increase your power, right? Like a banner of battle is much better if you have a Grunt Buggy.
Yes, definitely. Banner Battle would definitely help out with this, as we will
Um
see
yeah.
with these new cards.
So next up we have a card that I'm guessing is going to end up paired with Grunt Buggy in the same way that like Ancient Bear Flute was paired with Ancient Bear. I'm guessing you
Yep.
can get a Grunt Buggy, but actually no,
Or
that's wrong. This is for War Grumpus, so never mind. Wait,
or
I'm
the
guessing.
Niffle
Yeah,
or the Niffle Apes and the
yeah,
Niffle Queen. These 3 cards
yes,
seem to be paired together
yeah,
somehow.
yeah. Okay,
Um,
yeah, but this is actually not referencing War uh, uh, Grunt Buggy. This is just this is referencing War Grumpus, or War Grumpus, which is the next card we'll cover. But Grumpus
yep.
Trainer is a 4-power giant who, when you reap, you search your deck and discard pile for a War Grumpus. You reveal it and you add it to your hand, and then you shuffle your deck. And then War Grumpus is a 3-power beast that, when you fight or reap, you ready and fight with a neighboring giant.
Oh my goodness. At least it doesn't have a play ability. You know.
Right.
But man, being able
Yeah.
to ready and fight with a neighboring giant is crazy. But
Yep.
Grumpus Tamer has to stay out in order for you to be able to reap with it, to take advantage of searching the deck and discard pile for those other ones. You need to be able to protect him in order to take advantage of that.
Right.
Um, War Grumpus. I want to see how many of these in the algorithm are paired with Grumpus Tamer. I would want to say at least two, but it's probably at least one because it's a rare card.
Yeah, it
So,
seems to me like it would have to be that, like, if you got a Grumpus Tamer, you have to have at least one War Grumpus, but
hmm
not vice
but
versa.
the thing is, neither one has that special rarity. So
Right,
it's
right,
not a time traveler help
right.
from future self sort of pairing. So I wonder if there's going to be decks with Grumpus Tamer without War Grumpus or War Grumpus without Grumpus Tamer.
Could
But the
could be, but it seems so wasteful to me. I have
Mhm.
to. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean there are decks without that have Niffle without Niffle Queen or Ancient Bear
Right,
without Bear Flute.
but
So
yeah,
it could be that where you have a War Grumpus but no Grumpus Tamer.
right, right, exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
like that sort of interaction between the two.
yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then lastly for Brobnar we have the Flex, which is an action. You choose a friendly ready Brobnar creature, you exhaust it, and you gain amber equal to half its power, rounded down.
Yes. Awesome card.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome art.
Yeah.
It's it totally fits in with the Brobnar um, theme, and I think it's awesome. It's a great addition.
Yes, for sure. Um, cool. Okay. So then we're on to Dis. Oops, I skipped ahead a little accidentally. How did I do that? Whoa, skipped ahead more. That's wrong. Incorrect. Okay. I handled it. Okay. Dis.
Nice.
So the first Dis creature we have to talk about is Amber Imp, which is a 2 power imp that has elusive and says after a creature reaps, stun it. Ooh.
That's any creature, by the way.
Yeah, that's
Um,
bonkers.
yeah, it. This is showing that there's probably going to be a lot more stunning in this new set. They're not afraid to put this ability on this card. As I mentioned in one of your previous videos, stunning is one of my least favorite abilities
Mhm.
when it's being played against me. Um, it's it's so annoying, and
Yeah,
this creature makes it crazy. You want to be able to reap, but then you know you won't be able to reap with that for another 2 turns
right.
if you do that, or use it at all for another 2 turns if you do that. So unless it has a constant ability, it makes you more wary to reap with it until this is destroyed.
Yeah,
So, but if you leave it out on your opponent's side of the board, it makes them wary to to
true,
reap with their creatures. So
true.
it can be used against them.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's an interesting card with interesting options.
Oh man, yeah. I
It's definitely a
oof.
it's definitely a disc card.
Yes. Well, and you can imagine, for example, if you have this out and a couple pit demons, it doesn't affect you so much, right? Because you can just go ahead and uh, exhaust to use that steal action, which isn't
Mm-hmm.
reaping.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
so you can get in a situation, and I don't know if pit demon is going to be in the set or not, but for example, there are some things you could do that, uh, yeah, wouldn't necessarily trigger this, but would still
Right.
progress your game. Um,
Yeah. Fighting actions, omni abilities, all those do not trigger it.
right. So next up is Banish, which is an action that gains you an amber, and you put an enemy creature into your opponent's archives.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it puts it into your opponent's archive, so it's not it's not as strong as like Zookeeper
Yep.
or
Right.
Mass Abduction
Which puts it into your
cards like
own.
that. Yeah. So being able to temporarily take them off the board for
Yep.
probably a couple of turns would be pretty strong. I like the fact that there's an amber attached to it. gives it more incentive to play,
Yeah.
and it seems like a card that wouldn't stay in your hand for very long.
So
Like you see it, oh, I'm
yeah,
just going to play it. One of their creatures off.
in my mind, this compares nicely to Fear, because Fear does something
Yeah.
very similar. It pushes into your opponent's hand. This is actually slightly better for your opponent because they can choose to play that house and then they'll get it out of their archives, or if they want to leave it for a few turns, it's not clogging their hand. And then in exchange for giving your opponent a slightly better situation than Fear does, it gains you an amber.
Yes. Yeah. It obviously it is a trade-off. Um, I'm just looking at the card right now and notice there's a little imp down at the bottom of the box that it's putting the Sanctum creature into. Yeah, yeah. It is I can see the connection to Fear that you're drawing, and the advantages, disadvantages to it.
Mm-hmm. So next up is Binding Irons, which is an action that gives your opponent three chains. That's crazy.
One of the more controversial cards so far. Chains in Call of the Archons initially have seemed like a deck balancing mechanic where you start off with chains and
Right.
to balance the decks when they play against each other, make the game more even. This just gives your opponent 3 chains. And as we'll see
Right.
later, there's cards that are able to take this out of your discard pile and make you play it again. It's a bit crazy that it's a common, so it's going to be in a lot of decks.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there's going to be multiples of this.
Yeah.
I would hope not. I would hope not, because 3 chains is a lot. Maybe there's going to be a lot more cards in this set that allow you to copy cards from your opponent's discard pile. That allow it to be balanced out a little bit more. But giving your opponent 3 chains is mean and not okay with me.
Well, so yeah, I hear you there. I wanted to just double check. Let me see. This common. So here's the problem. Yeah. Would you rather have Binding Irons or Control the Weak?
Control the Weak.
Yeah. Okay. Control the Weak's a common. So I don't think it's that bad. I think it's fine.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
The thing is, Binding Irons affects your opponent for and maybe there's less chains and dis in this set. Maybe that's what's balancing it out, making it less making it that much better. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it just seems like an interesting. I'll have I want to play against it and with it and find out how it feels before I start making too many assumptions about it.
Yeah, it's definitely annoying. I just think it's not like insurmountable. Yeah, we'll see. Okay.
Yeah. This affects you for you or your opponent for at least 3 turns. Control the Weak would be just 1 turn.
Right.
So, yeah, there's that as well.
Yep. Okay. So Gub is a 1-power demon that, while it's not on a flank, it gets plus 5 power, which would make it 6, and taunt. So.
Yeah. See, yeah. Obviously, it depends on how you want to be able to bury this in your battle line, not get it onto a flank, and keep it there. You want to be able to protect it, like put a bunch of creatures on either side of it. And when it has creatures on either side, having it or giving it taunt makes it that much better. So I think it's actually a great card, and it seems pretty cool. The fact that you need to build it up in order to use it properly. That's a really cool bit of it.
Yep, totally. I kind of imagine there being some card in some faction, like maybe Sanctum, that's like a creature only equivalent of Phase Shift, where it's like play a creature from your hand,
Hmm.
it gains deploy,
I can see that.
something like
Yep.
that. And that would be really
Yep.
good with this if that existed. Doesn't have to
That would be
exist.
really cool. Yeah. I can see that being a card.
Yeah.
I can see the opposite of that being a card.
Uh huh.
Taking an enemy creature that is not on a flank and putting it on a flank.
Sure.
There could be that as well. Uh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Um. Cool. So Streak is a 2-power imp with elusive, and this just has the same power as Succubus. It reduces your opponent's hand size by 1. So it's really the same as Succubus. It's just it has 1 less power. It has elusive, and it needs to not be on a flank.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of in the same area as Gub. You need to build this card up, bury it in your battle line, protect it,
Right.
and it obviously synergizes really well with Gub. If Gub is buried in the battle line, you have taunt
Yeah.
on it, which protects this, which protects other things,
Right.
affects your opponent, all of that. Um, and
But you need
what's
something to
back?
be on a flank.
Right. Yeah, you need
Yeah.
something that is going to be on the outside of your battle line.
Yep.
So, yeah, it has a cool effect. I wouldn't expect it to be in effect all the time. It
Right.
seems like a rarer thing for this to be in the middle of the battle line,
Yep.
especially if your opponent has a lot of removal. But otherwise, it seems pretty cool.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. So next up is Yerk, which is a 4-power demon that when you play it, you choose and discard a card from your own hand.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I like this card a lot,
Yep.
actually. No matter what it is, being able to get 2 cards out of your hand for,
Yeah.
especially if it's a card that's not of the house Dis. So
Yep.
you have a card in your hand that's maybe the only one of that house. You're like, oh man, when I'm gonna get to play this, you play Yerk, you discard that card, and you don't need to worry about it. So,
Right.
yeah, great
Yep.
ability.
Yeah, I
I'm a
agree. I
fan.
think it's nice.
Yeah, more deck. More getting through your deck.
It is funny because it's one of those things where I think if you're new to KeyForge, you might look at that and go, "Oh no," but it is actually, I think, a benefit most of the time.
Definitely, I agree.
So Scullion is a huge demon. It's a 7-power creature with 2 armor, but when you play it, you sacrifice a friendly creature. Um,
Now,
uh-huh.
does this backfire on you if it's the only creature that's played,
Yes, I believe yes.
which would suck?
It would.
So you have to have at least one creature out. Now, the only creature you have, say you have a streak in your hand.
Right.
Obviously, you're going, or an amber imp. You're going to play out that creature and get rid of it to put this one out.
Right.
At least I would.
Yeah.
Because those creatures are a bit harder to play around and
Right.
they seem sacrificable right now.
Yep.
Even Gub seems sacrificable right now.
Yep.
So
Oh man, if I have this
um,
and a dust imp, I'm real happy.
yeah, yes. Which I think Destin made it through. I'm not sure.
Okay. Cool.
It might have.
One hopes. Cool. Okay. Then next up we have Soul Keeper, which is an artifact that gains you an amber when you play it. Oh, it's an upgrade rather, not an artifact, but it gains you an amber when you play it, and the creature it's attached to gains destroyed. Destroy the most powerful enemy creature. So it's sort of like a time bomb version of Three Fates, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
Again, great that it has an amber attached to it. Upgrades are awesome. Um, I wonder. Whenever I think of upgrades, I always try to think of how they can be played on your opponent to affect them.
hmm.
So being able to take this, destroy that tiny creature, and destroy, say, your Troubadour or something out that's
Sure.
big, that's out like that, that really helps you out.
Yep.
Um, could be a great interaction.
Right.
Um, so it seems like it would be pretty good on either side of the board, situationally. So if it,
Sure.
like I like being able to think of upgrades as good whether you play it on your creature or on an opponent's creature. Um,
Right.
yeah, especially to be able to gain the Amber.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
by the way,
Uh-huh.
Dust Imp did make it through to Age of
Oh,
Ascension.
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. So, yep, that's good. Good setup there.
yeah,
Um, oh, I mean, you have your dust imp down. You add Soulkeeper to it, and
yep,
then you play your big creature that sacrifices it.
yep.
Uh, okay, so next up we have Unlocked Gateway, which is an action that has Omega. So after you play this card, you end this step, and it just destroys each creature.
Yep. Like a gateway to Dis, does not
Yep.
gain you 3 chains, destroys each creature. I actually like this card. I don't really mind that you can't play any creatures after it. It kind
Uh-huh.
of sucks, but a little bit. But being able to not gain any chains for having that much
Right.
board control is awesome. Like
Right.
it's totally worth it.
Yep.
Ending your turn with this card.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. And I like Brad Andrews saying, "Well, just lock it again."
Yeah,
I mean, quick so.
yeah. Gotta say Brad when you play that card.
That's right. Uh, so next up we have Shard of Pain, which is an artifact that is an item and a shard, and it exhausts to deal 1 damage to an enemy creature for each friendly shard.
I am really excited about the shards. It seems so far we've only seen 2
Uh
so
huh.
far, but it seems like there's going to be one for each house. So maybe there's going to be multiple shards in a
Yep.
deck
That
of the
seems
same
likely.
house. We don't know. And maybe there's only limited to 1 per house. We don't know that either. Um, but the fact is, it looks like there's going to be at least 1 shard put into each house card pool.
Yep.
So I'm really excited to see how these fit in with the theme of each house and how they work out.
Yeah.
This seems awesome. Um, if
It,
it's by
yeah.
itself, it seems a bit weak,
It
dealing
is
one
interesting
damage to
because
an enemy creature.
it's a rare.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they could easily add into their algorithm some sort of affinity where once you have one, you have a higher likelihood of getting another one. But that'll
Whether
that'll be
it be in the
interesting to
same
see.
house or another house.
Right. Right. I mean,
So there's yeah.
maybe once you get one, you are guaranteed to get one in each of the other 2 houses. That would be super cool. Um, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Awesome.
Um, so next up is Spider, uh, which was just spoiled this last week,
Yep.
and is a 2 power demon with skirmish that gains poison while attacking an enemy flank creature.
That seems oddly specific. Gains poison only when it's attacking an
Yes,
enemy
yes.
flank creature. Like
Well,
it's
you wouldn't want it
yeah,
to
a lot of
gain poison while attacking a friendly flank creature.
right. It's it yeah, but that means that if something's attacking the spider,
Right.
it does not die from getting
Yeah.
a
Well, it has
single
a
point of
soft butt.
damage.
It has a soft butt.
Yeah,
So
the poison comes only from the bite.
that's right.
But yeah, like I see, I'm seeing a pattern where there seems to be a lot of hate for flank creatures.
Yes. Yes.
So dealing that damage to the destroying the sides of the battle line,
Yep.
as opposed to the direct removal of Call of the Archons through fear or um, Hand of Dis. Those ones. This seems to be more focused on the flanks.
Yep.
So yeah, it's cool that it
Totes.
has poison because when it's attacking a flank creature, there's always going to be a flank creature. So
Right.
that's cool.
Yep.
So there's always going to be something that can affect.
Yep. Cool. So next up is Exhume, which is an action that gains you an amber, and then you choose a creature in your discard pile. You can play it as if it belonged to the active house and was in your hand.
Yeah, and this card seems so strong. It's like a mini, like very
Yeah,
mini Arise.
right.
But the thing is, it's a house cheating card. So being able to take a card from another house and play it on your turn with this is so cool. I think it's a great addition to Dis's card pool. A bit of
Yeah,
house cheating in there, because before, if you play Dis, you know that you're only going to get Dis cards out. So,
right.
um, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, I'm
think
a fan of the house cheating in this.
yeah, Arise has some potential to be stronger for sure, but Exhume, gains you the amber, doesn't give you the chain, and like you said, can let you play a card from a different house this turn. So overall, I think it's pretty fun. I I would probably rather have a couple of these than I
Hmm.
think it's a really fun card.
Yeah, it
But
is a
love to see
common.
it.
So more
Yep.
than likely, you're gonna see decks with 3, 4, 5 of these.
Yep.
You will see decks with that. So
Yeah.
that's pretty,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
disappointing at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, Rise is also okay. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining me. This was super fun.
Yeah,
And
thank you for inviting me, man. I'm really excited about these new cards.
yeah, yeah.
um,
So we've worked our. I think we're about a third, a little more than a third of the way through. So maybe next time we can either get another third or maybe wrap up the whole thing. But should be fun.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I will talk to you later.
Okay. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Awesome. All right. I really will talk to you later now.